So the whole of the UK is arguing regarding mass immigration, whether you're for it or against it, illegal immigration, mass immigration. Everybody, it's a topic right now that everybody is arguing about. But the one thing that we're not speaking on is consumerism, convenience and demand, because that is the part that we are actually avoiding. Now, I'm not exactly talking about this situation from a political angle, but what I am discussing is behaviour, choices, systems, and then outcomes, including my own. And then when we look at the examples of what is going on in the UK and most of Western society, we usually demand cheap goods, we demand constant convenience, we outsource labour, and then we blame the outcome. Now, this can include anything from cheap food, 24/7 deliveries, fast fashion, seasonal labour, the list goes on. And this is something that I have been part of, and then seen the outcomes of my choices and then not liked it, but not realising that I actually played a major role in where we are now in terms of so much immigration, areas changing, things looking different. And a lot of the time when I was in things politically, I was pointing fingers a lot. It's this person's fault and it was that person's fault, without really ever being consciously aware of my part that I was playing in the fact that we've got the UK the way we've got it now. As my political journey went on, I started to realise that I cannot complain about systems that I actively feed into. And so I started looking at myself and the things that I was doing that was affecting the reasons why the country may be changing, in terms of things I was buying, things I was doing, and how it also affects countries that are outside of the UK. So when you really think about it and you're consciously aware of how you're actually spending your money, what you're investing it into, the things that you're using, you start to realize that it does affect other countries, because you are using resources and a lot of those resources aren't coming from the UK, and that will affect other countries. Because if you're dealing with governments and politics, you have to realize, even though you may vote for another government or another politician, politics is always about greed and control. So fundamentally, it's always going to be about resources and power and dominance over other countries. And so you don't really ever have much say in the government and not much sovereignty. However, if you start making active changes and do what I do and share that, then that's how you can change the dynamics of the country. If I give you understandings of why I'm doing it and use the power that you have, instead of just giving the government or giving a politician that power when they might have their own reasons for why they want to be in power with the UK anyway. I'd be lying to you if I said that I do fully trust governments. I don't 100% always trust them. I don't always know what their motives are for the country, and a lot of it I do believe comes from thinking about lining pockets and profit. And I think a lot of that comes from corporations as well, working with governments who are more concerned about lining their pockets than they are about the country itself. Because when you are dealing with the emotion of greed, all common sense goes out of the window. So the planet we could be making real negative impacts on the planet, but because of the emotion of greed that takes over, and we don't think of the consequences that we are leaving either our children or our grandchildren, the UK itself, and with all this mass immigration, that has a lot to do with political moves that are being made to line people's pockets, not worrying about us losing the culture of the UK. As long as people are getting paid, everything that's been going on with mass immigration, whether you agree with it or not, someone is getting paid. And fundamentally, I can't control that. But what I can control is conscious rebellion. So this is something I'm definitely unpacking, and this channel is me questioning all of this in real time. So bear with me, and I'm going to let you know exactly why I'm doing certain things and how my political footprint is affecting the UK for negative reasons or positive reasons. And then you'll have an understanding of me as a person, me as a female, me as a mother, me as, a human being living in the UK, and why I've changed certain things and the reasons why I'm doing it. And a lot of it is going to be directed at consumerism, because at the core, that is a real reason why we are having so many issues with immigration, full stop. So if you're for immigration, you need to understand, you will then have an understanding as why these other countries are being affected by wars and how we can stop that. And if you're not for immigration, you can understand where you are involving yourself in it without even realizing you're part of the problem. So for both parties, you can have an understanding of, because you both fundamentally want the same thing. And so, you know, people that are for immigration are concerned for the people that are fleeing countries, but you need to understand where your part is to play as to why their countries are being, you know, war torn, why it's happening. And like I said, people's pockets are being filled. So what is your political footprint that is making them come here in fear in the first place? And if you're not for immigration, you're also a part of the problem, because you are maybe investing without being consciously aware of it. And then it's affecting that country, and it's like a domino effect. It's all cause and effect. So this is the first video. I hope it goes well. If you enjoy, feel free to like, share, subscribe, follow, ask me any questions, because this is all going to be lifetime. This is the first for me, and I'm learning as I go as well, and I'm going to have to probably stop and, like, I've done that wrong, maybe reflect, go over here, go over there, but fundamentally I'm on the right track, and I'm very aware now that things that I'm doing is having an effect on not only the country but the planet itself. So if you enjoyed, I'll see you next time, and thanks for watching.
Do you want to know what it is?